Hi everyone, and welcome back to Scrapped Assets by Armangamer. So, this is a mod that I haven't covered before, and the content of the mod, as implied by the name, is that it introduces a bunch of scrapped assets from the game files. These can include certain scorched earth abandoned creatures like the hive critter and a certain wasp, some of the ancient archaeology or archaeology event creatures back from pre-extinction and ASE, such as the Brachiosaurus, the Styracosaurus, and the Stygomoloch. Those have all since been scrapped and are unused in ASA and have been reintroduced via this mod, and a whole bunch of other structures and resources as well. So, like I said, I've covered this mod before, and if you'd like to see like it from the start, oh in fact there's a Stygomoloch right there. If you want to see all of that in great detail, I recommend checking out that video. Otherwise today, I'm going to go over all of the new updates and additions, mainly focusing on the HIVEOPOD creature itself. So, the HIVEOPOD. This has been redesigned to be more of a caving creature. What I mean by that is something that's better suited for clearing out artifact caves, and we're going to be trying quite a bit of that in a bit. I just want to give a quick little summary first for anyone who's seeing this for the first time. The HIVEOPOD can be found on pretty much every map, I believe. I think it's all the caves in regular maps, I believe. Otherwise, on Lava Island in the centre, caves, canyons in the Wyvern Trench on Scorched Earth, Rock Drake Trench, Glowtail Caves, and the Red Zone in Aberration, and it does spawn in Extinction, though it does not state to where, but I'm going to assume, again, probably caves. Now, unlike last time, the HIVEOPOD does indeed have its own saddle, which is unlockable level 50, and to tame a HIVEOPOD, you need to give it salted spoiled meat, which is unlockable level 48, and this is now craftable in the alchemist table instead of the anthill. I know these are a lot of new words, I'll go over these quite a bit later, but it was also in the previous video as well. So it looks like Arman has changed the crafting requirement from the anthill, which was quite a late level 65, to the alchemist table, which is now level 47. This is the in-betweener between the chem bench and the mortar and pestle. So that's good, so level 47 for that one. HIVEOPOD's level 50, and spoiled meat at level 48. That makes a lot more sense compared to before. So, new saddle. Let us take a look at that then. So, I make this saddle. I did allude to that in the past, that I was going to be making a saddle for Arman and for his HIVEOPODs. Now, what's quite special about the saddle is that this is my very first saddle that I've textured, since I do all the modelling for a lot of people, but I don't do the texturing, but I'm learning. And look at that! I like all the colours and such. This should support dyes as well. You should be able to dye the saddle. I also included this little basket and a couple of bottles because the HIVEOPOD is supposed to be able to produce a biotoxin alternative, and I just thought, like, hey, as like a little nod to its utility, why not just have like a little container for it, you know, like a bit of an alchemist vibe, since the alchemist table is a thing here as well. Oh my god, I'm really happy seeing this in game. That's actually really cool. My first textured saddle. Sweet. And also, new icon. And that icon was also done by me. But don't worry, this isn't about me. There is a lot of really cool new things on the HIVEOPODs. To continue with our summary, it's got a left click attack. It can summon Voltiers, which are the little wasp creatures, and some little temporary minions. And its C attack does a poison, which, if I remember correctly, applies a pheromone debuff to the target. I should double check actually. So if I go ahead then and try to poison you. Oh, yeah, there you go. It sent my Voltiers, but it's also sent the Morellatops to go over and attack it as well. At least I thought it was about to. It definitely turned like it was going to. Well, my Voltiers killed it anyway. Now then, for the big changes for the HIVEOPOD that makes it more of a cave creature. So we've seen that it's got a new saddle, got a new icon. Oh, I thought I'd forgotten. It's got a new chibi actually. I know it's not got anything to do with it being a new cave creature, but you know, it'd be rude not to. Where's the little guy? Hold on. Getting sidetracked here. There it is! We got a little baby. Okay, so, two things. First of all, the HIVEOPOD will now gain a random buff whenever it kills an insect. I'm about to experiment how that works in just a moment. But also, the HIVEOPOD, when it is inside an artifact cave, it will passively gain 20% increased damage and resistance while inside that cave, which is pretty awesome because thus it just suddenly becomes that much more viable in the one environment. Hello. But not so much everywhere else. I think that's a very interesting take, or a way to address making a caving creature, as opposed to just making it busted everywhere. I quite like that take on it. And also the whole insect buff thing. There's a lot of insects in artifact caves. At least I think there is in pretty much all of them. So yeah, it will just buff the HIVEOPOD even further. Now, in regards to the buffs, I said it'll gain a random buff. There is a lot. So there's 5 normal tier buffs, 2 special tier, 2 ultra tier, and 1 boss tier. I just want to find out, is it dependent on the type of bug, or is it random upon killing a bug? Let's find out. So this time I've just gotten rapid regeneration, and somehow didn't anger the hive. Okay. Are they just not going to care? Like, am I... Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. Okay, now they're angry. So, I've got a... Oh, numbed is probably a trait, isn't it? Yeah, more than likely. Otherwise, I'm just getting a rapid regeneration constantly. So, that tells me that it's probably due to the type of creature I'm attacking and not so much anything else. Rapid regeneration is lasting about 10 seconds. And I'm just checking my list. Yep, okay, I'm pretty sure it is bound to the particular kind of creature. It is not random. Let's go find something else to kill. Perfect, a jug bug. This is definitely something larger. Let's just go ahead then and just summon my little ads first, because this might... Actually, you know what? If I'm smart, I'll just burler it first. Kind of... Don't... Shut up. Kind of crazy what happens really when you use your brain for a second. Okay, so let's do that. We'll go ahead and try to kill it ourselves. I'll pacify my little guys. This one gave me about 25 seconds of damage resistance. That is, I believe, another normal tier buff. Right, so this is definitely making me think it's indeed dependent on the creature that you kill. Which means that the boss tier one, well, I guess it's in the name, isn't it? That's probably going to come from a boss. Let's go and try do an artifact cave. Now, what would be a good cave that has a lot of insects I can test my HIVEOPOD in? Of course, the island swamp cave, and it would look like that even just being near this cave, my HIVEOPOD has already gotten the inner cave buff, which, as we said earlier, means that I now deal 20% increased damage and I heal constantly as well. So this should be fun to try with. I've got to myself a decently leveled HIVEOPOD that is fully imprinted with a 50 armored saddle. Go ahead and chuck my gas mask on then. And let's just see the overall performance of this guy and if I get any buffs. I'm also curious to see if, yeah, I had a bit of an issue earlier, hence the corpse there. I'm also very curious to see if my Volters will also trigger any buffs for me. Killing that Meganurus has given me a damage boost for 30 seconds, and that has given me 30% increased damage. Oh wow, that is a chunky amount. That's just what you want on the entrance to the swamp cave. It's obviously going to get quite spicy. Now, can I poison them as well? Oh god. Hope I don't get Alpha Plurid again. Already broke my armor once. Oh, I've also gotten a speed boost. I keep on seeing Vampiric Drain. Oh, I'm guessing that's a trait on me. Yeah, more than likely. Wow. Yeah, I'm very curious. If I take a step back then and just let my Volters do the damage, will I gain buffs from them? I suppose I probably don't really do... Have they already been killed? Okay, I don't think I can test that, to be honest. But, yeah, so you can definitely see them getting different buffs per different creature. Rapid regen, speed boost, damage boost, of course, the cave buff itself as well. Yeah, it's cool to see. And am I even taking any damage? I mean, yeah, I've got 50 armor saddle on. But, yeah, no, the health regen's kind of crazy. So this guy really is quite viable for caving then. I wouldn't necessarily take it to, like, the hard ice cave, or probably non-extinction cave. Am I even taking damage? I'm definitely taking some damage. But not really that much. Oh my god, the amount of Meganura. Oh, that is an absurd. Oh my god, the amount of Meganura. And I suppose the issue is, right, is that I do have the same hitbox as a Aranio, which means I got a very small hit range. But hey, I'm not dying. And I'm getting a lot of buffs. All things considered, I am only doing about 379 damage, so I would admit that Megatherium would still be better, but this is a really fun alternative. And an important question. Since this is a caving creature, can it hold multiple artifacts? If it can hold multiple artifacts, that would immediately make it quite competitive with a lot of other, you know, potential cave dinos. Let's just, oh my god, just... The survivability is insane. Let's go ahead then and just crawl all the way in. Maybe I'll get something new from killing leeches. There's an Arthur Pro over there. Oh, actually, I could also test my damage on the snakes. Oh my god, the lag. Please do not break my gas mask. Oh my god! The amount of creatures in here. Don't just love... Wait, this isn't even the artifact. What am I going here for? I just want an autopilot. I wanted to try and get this supply drop, I guess. It used to be why I always farm supply drops. We got damage resistance buff from either the leeches or the Arthroplura. That snake is sure dead. Oh my god, little snail? The snail gave me... I don't think it gave me anything. Actually, you know what? A pretty insane benefit the HIVEOPOD does have to a lot of other creatures for caving. It's small. It's really, really small. Of course, you know, Megatherium's only good in here if you can fit in here for cryopod or breeding. But this guy can just waltz in and waltz in everywhere else. And that is really, really nice. There's definitely quite a few caves in the game where you just can barely fit anything in. So the HIVEOPOD, I think, is a really safe bet, actually. Wow, this is just absurdly effective, though. Really impressive for such a small little creature. And you think, right, it will not be this strong out in the open world. So this really is like a very niche benefit. And we've yet to see what kind of buff a scorpion would give. So in a regular artifact cave with like a mixture of creatures, never know, scorpions might give something good. There's also Aranio in there as well. Just gotta let them be for a moment. And, oh, wow, a long neck rifle and ammo. Pretty awesome. Otherwise, as I skitter through this really tiny little entrance area, can I get like all the way through? Oh my god, it looks like I actually can. And there is the artifact. What other creature could fit through that tiny little area down there? Now I know there's a grapple chick where you can just skip that entire thing, but I wanted to check this. Can I put artifacts inside you? Yes, I can. Can I put multiple? Wait. Yeah, that's right. You can't even put them in there in the first place, can you, for most creatures? I need to double check. Okay, just got myself another one, and yep, this can indeed carry multiple artifacts. Alright then. It's small, it's got great survivability, and it can carry multiple artifacts. It's actually really fantastic. Hello, it's Editor Me, just cutting in while we're still in the cave and before we move on to the next part of the video. So, regarding those insect buffs overall, I don't have time to check which insect gives which buff and where each buff comes from. So, to give you the overall list of every potential buff, to which one day we should find out where each one comes from. The 5 normal tier buffs all last around between 10 to 30 seconds, includes stamina regen, health regen, 25% resistance, 30% damage buff, and 50% movement speed. All of these at varying amounts, but up to a maximum of 30 seconds. I'll write down the accurate timings for you on screen. The 2 super tier buffs last around 30 to 60 seconds, and that includes a 50% damage buff and another healing buff. The 2 ultra tier buffs can last up to 20 minutes. This includes 40% damage and 30% speed buff, and a healing and stamina regen buff. And then there is the boss tier buff that can last up to 20 hours. This will grant your HIVEOPOD 2 times damage increase, 25% resistance, and 50% movement speed. I don't know if these all stack, but that is pretty darn wild, and I really have to wonder if that boss tier one really requires you killing the broodmother, because that is insane. But a 20-hour buff is pretty damn nice. So, one final thing for the HIVEOPOD, before we look at some of the other things on this mod, is that I was going to check out the Aberrant version, but it turns out there is also an Extinction Waste version. So the Aberrant one does have some subtle striping on the back, which also connects over to the little circular thingies as well. And of course, during the night time, it's a lot more prominent. And the Waste one, I can't really notice any differences visually, but I had noticed, if I look at the inventory of the regular HIVEOPOD, nothing. Scorched one, or Aberrant one, excuse me, nothing. But the Waste one, hardened corrupt polymer. These incredibly strong lightweight plates can be shaped and then heat treated into casings for anything. These require 1 corrupted nodule and 2 rare meat, or raw meat. And is that the same description as regular polymer, or regular hard polymer? Yeah. Okay, so that's really cool then. The Extinction version of the HIVEOPOD can be used to convert the corrupted nodules into hard polymer. In other words, removes the spoil time at the cost of raw meat. And on a map like Extinction, you're gonna have a lot of raw meats. So that is a really handy benefit. So that is the big main thing I wanted to cover in today's video, but there are a couple of little additions in scrapped assets as well, because like I said earlier, this reintroduces all of the scrapped assets from the dev kit, not just the HIVEOPOD. And for one example, we now have the aberrant stigmalock, or the aberrant patchy, that can now spawn in aberration, of course. And there is also the corrupted deathworm. Now, this is an interesting one. I would assume that these can just simply spawn out in the wild. They're probably not tameable. If I remember correctly, you know that area, the very, very top of the map, where it's just like absolute hell on the way to the King Titan platform? I think like back in the launch of Extinction, corrupted deathworms could spawn, but then Wildcard removed it for some reason, and I still don't know why to this day. Yeah, so Arman has reintroduced them back in, and again, I would assume that they're not tameable. Now, of course, this begs the question, what about non-tamables? I'm not sure, honestly. I do know that Arman and Mermicolian talk, so who knows whether or not we'll get a corrupted tameable one in the future, but in any case, yeah, I don't think there's like a corrupted one at all in Merm's mod. But again, you never know, that could just be a thing in the future. But we now have the wild one back in the game again. And otherwise, all the other changes and additions are all mainly to do with the structures that this mod introduces. For example, the icons for the cushion, which is a decorative piece in a wooden chair alternative. The icon has been changed and just looks a lot nicer, and also the material has been changed to look less metallic in-game. Same for the wolf den, which has a much better icon now, in fact. This is a alternative to a feeding trough. In fact, let's go ahead and just also look at that as well, for anyone curious. So yeah, this is a alternative feeding trough. Is that like somewhere? Let's just put it, yeah, here. And that does look, oh, that looks so much better. It was very metallic looking before, very, very shiny, which is quite nice in the Arctic, looked very icy, but not anywhere else. That looks much better. And the anthill has also had a new icon and new material. Let's go ahead and check out the anthill. This was also used to craft artifacts. Requires space on the floor. Okay then. Jump down here. Does that not count as floor? Do I need like a structure floor? Or I might probably do. Yeah, there we go. Now it works. That's kind of funny actually. And that, yeah, again, also looks a lot better. So the anthill is used to make a whole bunch of, oh that's right, unobtainable artifacts. It wasn't just the artifacts, it was like all the non-existent ones. So the artifact of the resilient, the mysterious, of the rebellion, the persistence. Why is that lowercase compared to all the other ones? Arman, I'm going to DM you in a moment. Artifact of the curious, of the flamekeeper, and of the peak. There's also a crystal ball. To spawn into something more useful. Okay, how long is it going to take? 11 minutes. Artifact of the Fallen, and Enforced Chitin, made by many hardworking ants to make your chitin weigh less and more stackable. Interesting. Arman has also introduced some tripwire traps. So there is the tripwire charge blind trap. Place two of these near each other to create an explosive, blinding, and slowing attack. And okay, so that's the same thing actually. I thought it was two different items. Oh, that's the same thing as well. Okay, I thought it was two different items that were, you know, one for blinding, one for slowing. No, this one does both of them. That's interesting. There's also the sitting candelabrum, which I think is like a decorative piece. Let's go ahead and just check that real quick. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty cool looking. And could I like put things inside that? Must contain a fuel such as wood thatch or, yeah, okay, so like a typical torch. There is also a level 17 resource called lamp oil, a combustible hydrocarbon liquid that has the same properties as angler gel, but expires very fast. That's so strange, and you think, right, these are scrapped things, so Wildcard came up with this one, not Arman. What? Why the same properties as angler gel? Who asked? And there's also an aberrant club and an aberrant pickaxe cosmetics. That, I'm very surprised, wasn't actually made into the game. So, hold on. Let's just get, we've got a pickaxe already, let's get a club as well. Oh, 1 second, I'm typing way too fast. Let's check that down there, let's go to cosmetics, and yep, grab that one, and that one. And let's go ahead, oh, you can see right there actually. That's so cool, wait! What's that? Oh. I'll report that as well. Hold on, is that the case? Okay, I see. So it's got a texture up close, but not from far away. That's really cool looking. Was that ever a thing in ASE? Surely it's being postponed for a later, like, maybe I could work in Lost Colony. I don't know. That's really weird to hold back. And the club? Oh god, that definitely looks quite gnarly. That looks like something that would be out of extinction. Huh. That Axo. All the engravings on the metal? That's really odd that they've kept that one back. Alright. And I gotta get into like item skins at some point. I really want to experiment with all this kind of stuff. Okay, I think that's everything according to my notes. Now, Arman does update all of his mods frequently. He updates scrapped assets and his 2 maps, Interlunar and Vastium. Very good map maker. So all of these get updated quite frequently, so there's probably more that I've missed out on, but otherwise we've got all the really cool, important and fun stuff. I say that as if nothing else is fun. I probably need to forget something else. Well, either way. Hope you enjoyed, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy an actual viable new cave creature. It's really, really fun, actually. I like the approach for this. Yes, and I'll see you all again next time. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.